Good morning, everybody. I am Jeff the Homestead Dad, and welcome to the Homestead. As I said in the last video where I talked about Jack and Tangy and Freedom Homestead, I've got some things that I want to tell you about on the Homestead. So we're going to start with that, but first, let's get some chores done. Let's start with the rabbits. So they can go several days with just having the feeders filled, but I don't have a water system. I've got plans to put a bucket water up here that will fill all of their waters, but I don't have that yet, so I've got to fill these up. I'm going to pop around the corner, fill this up, and you'll see. So that's one of the things that when we were on vacation, the water needed to be filled up every day. If it were warmer and I didn't have to worry about freezing, I could have installed the bucket water that had hose that goes down to a nipple and just automatically fills our water. But with the freezing temperature possibility this early in spring, that didn't happen. Same thing with the cow and horses. I have an automatic water that hooks up to the hose here and goes on the trough, and then it's got a little float here that fills it up. But I don't know if you can see how that's bent. It should be straight. I think either just before we got back or just after we got back, one of the animals messed with that and bent it. I have a feeling it was the cow. Cows just tend to be, in my experience, I don't have a whole lot of experience with horses, but cows are really curious and do things like that. They push things all over the place, which is why there's a trough over there that got pushed around because it didn't have enough water in it, and they pushed it around. So that was, just needed to have the hose on. As long as it wasn't freezing again, that was good to keep the water there. And I put a round bale in there so the horses and Hope were good. One of the things that I haven't told you guys about yet was Hope. Let me see if I can get her out here so we can talk to her a little bit. Come here, Hope. Come on. Come here. Come over here. Good girl. They want to see you. It's been a little bit wet, so if you guys can see, her udders look awfully full for a young heifer calf. Or a young heifer. Well, she's no longer a heifer. She's now a cow. So, I had not planned on having her bred until late this summer, so that we would have a late spring calf next year. And last year, we had a bull, but we got rid of him, I thought, early enough so that he wouldn't breed her. Apparently I was wrong, because she started looking big and I was like, must be hay belly, because I got rid of the bull early enough. Well, I didn't. She had a calf. Sadly, the calf did not, we just found the calf dead on the ground. We've not had good luck with calves here, so that was a huge bummer. Also, it was a bummer because it was a week before we were leaving, and I wasn't planning on having a cow and milk. So I didn't have a plan for that. So I started drying her off, and then it became apparent that she wasn't going to be totally dried off before we left. So my buddy Chaz came over a few times while we were gone and milked her, and that worked great. I'm now milking her once every other day and getting a couple gallons of milk, and it seems to be going well. So I'm still thinking about getting a calf to try to graft onto her and see if I can increase her production. 2 gallons of milk every other day is plenty of milk for us. It's more than we need, so we would have enough to share with a calf. But she's doing great right now. She's learning how to be a milk cow. She's standing good. I've got a set of hobbles And all hobbles are is you strap them to their leg. So to each of her, this goes around one leg, this side goes around the other leg, and then I've got this lead rope tied to it, and I kind of stretch her legs back so she can't step into the bucket, or at least hopefully she can't step into the bucket. So that's going well. That's like the big news with animals on the homestead. Let me show you what I did with the chickens to make their chores a lot easier. Okay, you can see the chickens are all out and they're kind of hovering around me. The reason for that, see the door is closed. The reason they're all hovering around me is because they're waiting to be fed, and not because they actually need feed, but they're just used to that. So if you watched a couple videos ago, I put on an automatic door, and that has been working great. Oh, there goes a sparrow. So they get let out in the morning, and that gets closed up at night. But I still come feed them a couple scoops. They actually, let me show you quick. There's actually a garbage can feeder in here. You can see it rained yesterday and we've still got water on top. So there's a garbage can feeder in here, and it's got a bunch of holes for them to get their heads into, and it's got lots of feed. So even if somebody couldn't come over for a few days, they could be let out through that door, they could have feed here, and then I'll show you a 5-gallon bucket water up there in just a second. So I think more than anything else, they're just used to me feeding them in the morning. So when they see me come out, they come running. So chickens would be fine with food and water, and actually their eggs with our Cottage Craftworks roll out nest box, somebody could not come over for 3 or 4 days and the eggs would just continue to roll into that front area and they'd be fine. Here's my 5-gallon bucket water. I'll show you that a little bit closer. So it's just a 5-gallon bucket. I'm gonna put it back up, and then I just attached some of these nipples on the side, 4 on the cardinal directions there. And this water, if filled up, even if we don't get any rain and there's no puddles for them to drink from or whatever, this would last those chickens several days as well. They also drink from the trough over there that the cow and horses use. So between this and that, they would have plenty of water as well. That brings us to the last homestead animal, the pigs. Well, I guess we've got a dog too, but the dog normally goes and stays with my parents or somebody else. The pigs. The pigs, they need a little bit of, they need somebody to feed them. They have a 55-gallon drum water there that would last them a week, as long as it's not super hot. But they need to be fed. I do not have like a steel, I've seen the round type feeders or the flat feeders. I don't have any of those. So we just feed them out of one of these buckets here we've got feed. If I really needed to go someplace for a few days and I didn't have anybody to watch the farm, I could make one of those. I could take one of these barrels and just cut a couple slits at the bottom and gravity feed it. It wouldn't be perfect. I'd probably set it up on something so that it wasn't in direct contact with the ground, but it would work in a pinch if needed. I try to make things as easy as possible so that whoever I have watching the farm, whether it be my brother-in-law or a neighbor or my dad actually came over a lot and was playing in the addition, working on insulating that. So, you know, same thing. This is just screw off top, reach down in here and throw them 4 scoops. My brother-in-law, when he came over, which ended up only needing to be a few times because my dad did a lot of the chores, would feed them a bucket of spent grain. My dad not as much because they're a little bit heavier and ungainly. So, but yeah, pretty easy. I feed these guys on the ground. I've had people, you know, suggest that I not feed them on the ground, and I get it. It's worked for me. They would be rooting around in the dirt in nature if they're out in nature, which I know they're not. I got a cement mixing tray and created a 2x4 cage around it. You can see how much they beat that thing up. This is a couple years old. They finally put a rip in it. They got that side out of it. It worked for a while. You can see there's another one over there they totally ripped up. Pigs are super strong and super destructive. I have built 3 or 4 shelters for the pigs, and they've destroyed every single one of them. Doesn't matter what I've done, what screws I've used. So I feed them on the ground. I need to build them another structure. I'm actually thinking about selling all of my pigs and just buying a few feeder pigs in the spring and butchering them in the fall. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, this is their water. You can see I've got the hog nipples out there, and then we just fill that up, and it lasts them a good long time. So that's what's been going on the farm with all the animals. Chores in the morning take me 10 minutes tops. And honestly, like I said, the rabbits and the pigs are the only things that I really have to do every day, because I've got to fill up the rabbits' water and I've got to feed the pigs. If I were to get a watering system on the rabbits, which I plan to do, and if I get a feeder for the pigs, which I also plan to do, then I could just load those things up and I could not do chores for a couple days if I didn't want to, aside from collecting eggs. And that's the way I like it. I don't think that having animals means that you need to spend half an hour, hour and a half a day doing chores. Would I like to spend time with the animals and working with the horses? Absolutely. But I don't want to be tied to the homestead, and that's where my biggest thing comes with having a milk cow. I've talked to you guys about this before. When I had a milk cow, is that's the part that ties you down. If you're hand milking, good luck finding somebody who can help you out. It's really hard. You can do it, and I've got my buddy Chaz who's able to help me out, and man, is he a godsend, but it's really hard. Having a milk machine would make it easier, but milk machines are expensive, and I don't plan on buying a milk machine. So I think what I'm going to do is try to get a calf and then calf share and only milk when I want to milk. That's my plan anyway. Otherwise, when it's not freezing, all this other stuff can be on, autopilot. The hog water, even when it's freezing, I can throw a heater in there. The water over here, the trough, I can fill up 2 troughs, or I can fill up the big trough and put a heater in there, and that will last a few days, not weeks and weeks with the automatic water. I have those heated waters for the rabbits that need to be plugged in, but again, then they need to be filled in. So there's things you can do in the winter to make things easier, but definitely in the summer, I could get it to where we could be gone for a week and everything would be fine on the homestead with just a little bit of tweaking. And that's great, Then if we want to go someplace for a weekend, we can do that. If we want to go visit family for a week, we can do that. So yeah, but that's the thing. So aside from Hope having a calf way earlier than I wanted to. There's a cat over there, one of the neighbor cats. Come over here and eat some mice. We got too many mice. That's the big update, is Hope, our cow, or now cow, had a calf, and I'm milking her. On the outro, I'll go show you the milk that we got, and I'm going to be interested to see how much cream we get from her, because she is a Jersey Holstein cross. So probably not as much cream as a Jersey, but hopefully more than Holstein. We'll see. If you have any questions about the animals, the systems that we have in place here to keep the animals in feed and water, ask away. Be happy to answer anything that I can. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you and your family as he has so richly blessed ours. And I'll see you guys in the very next video. Okay, so this is milk that we bought from my friend Ruth. You see the cream line, if you guys can see that, is right there. Right, so this is the milk that we got from Hope. Cream line is right there. Let's take one of our half gallons. Hey, the cream line is, we actually got a little bit more cream here. I mean, that's just one, but it's about similar. So I don't know, you can see the cream line in back there. It's right there. I'm super happy with that. So I was really concerned, or I was really interested and a little bit concerned about how much cream we would get. But that's a lot of cream. That's good. That's comparable to what we've gotten in the past from other cows and from other dairy shares. So super happy with that.